cleaned it with some lacquer thinner and some steel wool, and I did have to give it a light sanding because a lot of the stuff you just couldn't get off. I will do more work to it down the road, but right now I want to get everything fitted on the gun so I know everything works. An example of that, what I'm talking about, is this lock, hammer and lock. It's for this type of rifle, but it's not from this gun. So I had to shave out a little bit of wood to get it to fit into this spot. And then I discovered when you put the barrel in, this metal overlaps the barrel, so I have to file a little metal away to get this to fit in when the barrel is in the stock. So that'll be a little bit of work. The other thing is the patch box they gave, it's just very thick and clunky, and I really don't know how you're going to make this work with what they gave you. And if you look at an original gun from that era, you see that these patch boxes were made with fairly thin metal, not with real thick metal. And you can see it on the original gun here that it's thin metal. It's not real thick. So I'm going to cut this out, and I made a template with paper, and I'm just going to cut out a brass, and I already ordered hinges, and I'm going to put a hinge in here and just make my own patch box with the proper thickness metal, so I don't have to carve out any of this wood, and I'll figure out a better way to lock it than what they gave me here. I'm not really certain how this was going to ever work. And you can see the brass here that I've started refinishing or cleaning up. I'll show you original piece, and you'll see how much of a difference it was made. This is an unpolished piece of brass right here that I still have to do. And I've cleaned one cleaning on the barrel, but it's still pretty crusty. But I will, before I do anything else to it, I just want to get all the pieces together. Now, on the butt plate, this looks like a butt plate from a Brown Bess musket. It's not from this gun, obviously, it's much bigger. And the piece of brass they had that went over the top, it was short, it was also out of square. So there was no way I was going to be able to fit it in there. I tried heating it up and bending it, it broke. So what I'm going to do is just file it flat and add a piece of brass along the top. This thing would have ended up short anyway, so I would have had to add something in here. And there's enough bling on this gun that adding a little extra brass on here, I think, wouldn't look out of place. It would look fine. So I'll fit this, and I'll add a piece of brass. I'm going to make my own patch box cover. I still have to fit this here. Each one of these is different. So what I had to do was take a piece of paper and you hold it over the top and you trace it like this. You go over the top and make a tracing of it, which I did right here. And I'll drill this out and cut this out and fit that in here. Then use the rest of this patch box. Now this is the piece that was missing. I cut a new one out from the template I made out of paper, and that came out pretty good. I also repaired and polished the end cap, but it had a hole about the size of a pencil eraser. So I put a piece of blue tape behind there and I filled it in with bronze paint. It blends in pretty well. This is the bronze paint I used. Now let's get to the exciting thing, and that's this patch box. I made a template and I cut it out of brass, and I got a hinge and then soldered it. I left it a little bit long so when I fit in the butt plate I can cut it to size. So I'm glad this came out really well, and it's probably very close to what was originally there. The other thing that I did was I fit the lock assembly up to the barrel, so now it fits nice and tight. And how I did that was I put a little paint on the barrel, and then I held the lock assembly on it until it touched, and then I took it away and let the paint dry, and then when it dried I filed off the paint, and then it fit perfectly. So let me put this in here. You see it, and I got everything so it works. The other part I made, because this lock assembly didn't come with the gun, this machine screw was a little bit long, and I didn't want to have to file away any of the screw. So what I did is I made a brass washer to fit on the outside here. I'm going to polish it up a little more, but I didn't want to be carving away at the original metal at all if I didn't have to. So I put a spacer in there, and it kind of fits in with the rest of the gun. But so far I'm very happy with the way everything's turning out. I have to still fit the butt plate on here, make this piece, and then once I get it all together and everything works, I'll take it all apart again and I'll clean the metal up and finish cleaning the stock and the brass